Hey there, seventh graders. Welcome back. It's me, Mr. Stark. I hope you had a awesome holiday break. It was nice for me to spend some time with my family and to just disconnect with things a little bit and just relax and rejuvenate. So hopefully you had some of the same and you're ready to come back to school and get after it. Prior to break, we were talking about ecology and we talked a little bit about I want to do just a little bit of review here from ecology. Um, Ecology is the study of interactions that take place amongst organisms and their environment. So we're going to look at that, kind of review that. Abiotic and biotic factors, those were things that were abiotic were non-living physical features of the environment. They are things like the wind, the sun, the rocks, the water, the temperature. All of these have their factors. They have influences on organisms. They make it either easier or more difficult for them to survive. And then you have biotic factors. That's organisms depending on each other for food, shelter, protection, or reproduction. So, you have different groups of white-tailed deer or bears or birds. They're depending on each other for food, or for the ability to be able to reproduce together and things of that nature. Biotic factors are all living features of the environment. We had the 6 levels of biological organization. So first of all, we had an organism. That's a single member from a population. So if it's a pheasant, that's the one pheasant. The population is all the individuals, all the pheasants in the same area. The community is groups of populations living together, so that's groups of living things. So that would be like pheasants and coyotes and bobcats and insects and things, all those living things. The ecosystem is the community, all those organisms plus the abiotic factors, the non-living things. So the snow, the wind, the temperature, those things of that nature if you're talking for a pheasant. And then the biome is the region of the Earth's surface defined by its climate. So southern Minnesota is more of a grassland. So that's the type of biome it is, and it's defined by its climate, its repetitive weather day after day after day after day. It's repeating, it's very similar all the time. And organisms tend to adapt to live in that type of climate. And then biosphere is the layer of the earth that supports life. Okay, so that's just a slight review of what we covered a little before we went to break. Today, I would like to look at, and we talked about the abiotic and the biotic factors can be limiting factors. They're any biotic or abiotic factor that can control the population size. So if there's not enough plants or grasses to feed the amount of animals there, that is a limiting factor. Okay, so some other examples. Perch. If you have not enough food, mayflies, the perch will decline. The mayfly larvae have a bad reproduction year. They don't produce as much, and so there's an effect on that where if the mayfly have a bad hatch, perch don't have enough food, and then the walleye don't have enough food. So it's all interrelated. These are limiting factors. And so the general rule is in nature, everything is connected to and affects everything else. Biotic potential, that's the number of individuals that a female can produce during an optimum condition, rarely if ever achieved. So if we were going to talk about the biotic potential of a white-tailed deer, in its very first year of existence, a female will reproduce and produce one offspring. Each year after that, it typically produces 2 if the organism is healthy, if its biotic potential is up. Okay, if there's enough food for the mother to feed herself and support the offspring, then she will typically have two. If there is a really, really, really good year, once in a while you'll see a white-tailed deer that will throw triplets. And that usually is there's a good food year and a very, very mild winter. And the combination of these two, the mild winter and good food supply, enables the female to reach her biotic potential and be able to have or give birth to multiple offspring. And so, moving on, we're going to, today we're going to take a look at some interactions amongst the communities, amongst the living organisms. There's a predator-prey relationship that we'll spend a little bit more time with, but I want to focus on symbiosis today, which is when two or more organisms or species live together. There are three different types. There's mutualism, commensalism, and parasitism. So mutualism is where these two species live together and they both benefit. So that would be like a bee and a flower. The bee would go to the flower, get the pollen, and the bee would bring pollen from other flowers to this flower and would cross-pollinate and allow them to reproduce. Excuse me. Commensalism is where one benefits and the other is not harmed. One example is a tropical orchid that grows in a tree that's in the rainforest, and it just grows on there. It's up there. It's higher. It benefits from being higher in there and being able to get to the sun, but it does not harm the tree. And then parasitism is where one is helped and the other is harmed. So the example I have is a lamprey and a trout. So the lamprey is a fish that has a little raspy mouth that bites onto the side of the trout and rasps a hole through its side, and then sucks nutrients from it, robs nutrients from the trout, and then, but not enough to kill it, smart enough to keep it alive so that it can keep providing food for the lamprey. But that's an example of parasitism. Okay. I'm going to make another video with the slideshow that I made, just kind of give you some better examples of this. I'm going to go to that now.